Why do me and Mike Tyson have the same net worth? Now, that might sound impressive, but it's not too hard. Mike Tyson made $430 million US currency during his boxing career. You might want to look up what he's worth right now, which is only about $3 million. So how did that happen? How did Mike Tyson go through and literally incinerate $430 million? Well, if you understand psychology, even the most basic psychology, and you can just talk to even the most basic psychologists, they'll tell you this is very, very common. And it's because of the way the human mind learns and how the human nervous system protects you. The human nervous system is very vigorous in the first 7 years of life, and it even starts listening. The human fetus starts listening through the womb and picking up what the environment is like. And this part of the brain is famous for looking for repetitive content, especially in the first 7 years of life. And that's why the Jesuits would always say, give me a child for the first 7 years and I'll show you the man. And this is because the way the human nervous system learns things, it develops this lust for patterns, repetitive content, repetitive images, repetitive themes, and it really lines them up. And it associates anything that's repetitive with what most people in the tribe are doing. And this is why this part of the brain is really involved with looking for the repetitive content, because it wants to know, what tribe am I in? What tribe am I in? So, and once it discovers where you live through the repetitive content, its secondary protection mechanism is forcing you to live out that repetitive content and mimic it and emulate it and mirror it. And that's where most people get 93 to 97% of the behavior. So back to Mike Tyson, who grew up in a very poor area, and this part of the brain, a very loving, protective part that counts the repetition, it comes as standard equipment on the human body. I have it. And Mike Tyson has it as well. So when he grew up in the poverty-based environment, the subconscious mind pathway determined through the repetitive content in that poverty environment that being poor was safe, being poor was familiar, being poor felt comfortable, being poor had, provided a script that was predictable. And the word predictable just means safe inside our own nervous system. So when he got all this money, and a lot of people do it, including myself, because when I made money in the early going too, I did the same as Mike Tyson, not to that degree, but certainly to the good extent of my wealth at the time. I would incinerate it. And so when he got all this money provided to him, the nervous system, which again loves you, wants to protect you, said, hey, Mike, this isn't the tribe you're used to. You don't have a script for this. This is not what's familiar. This is not what's comfortable. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't have a script to follow for this particular richer environment. Please change the environment back to what you're used to so that you can feel safe. So this is what Mike Tyson used to do. I mean, he's famous. One time, I believe he crashed a very high-end car. I think it's a Ferrari. And he was in a rush to an appointment. Mike Tyson is famous for just wasting money. But this is why he was wasting it, because he didn't like it. Because wasn't familiar, wasn't comfortable, and he couldn't change his programming. So he crashed this high-end, whoa, wow, almost got taken out there by a scooter, a big lady on a scooter. That would have been ugly. Anyway, so he crashed his high-end car, and then he's really rushed to get to this appointment. And so he just gave it to the cop that was at the scene, said, look, you take it, it's yours. And that's how he used to waste money. And even Jamie Foxx would say sometimes that Mike would laugh that he would buy a bushel of BMWs to give away to his friends and his posse. So this is where people, if you go into business, it's important to understand that there's a chance you'll make money. But if you don't assess, if you carry this programming, and people that come from more impoverished environments do bring this programming with them, it can be an absolute disaster if they start to become wealthy, because they'll destroy it, they'll incinerate it, they'll give it away, they'll do something to screw up the progress, and it'll be over. And they'll think it's fate or coincidence or chance happening, and it's not. It's all based on how our nervous system gets us back, whether we like it or not, to what we're familiar with and where we feel comfortable. So this is why I tell these stories, because I encourage everybody to get into business for themselves. But that's not blindly. Like all the programs I organize and provide to groups around the world always involve business training, but it also involves self-sabotage coaching, so that when you become thinner or wealthier or meet a good partner, you don't default to the base programming where maybe your tribe was overweight and that's where you feel comfortable, or you default back to where everybody fights, all the partners and spouses fight in your tribe, and that's where you feel comfortable. And so that when a good man or good woman comes your way, you really don't feel comfortable, and you revert back to going after the bad guy or the loser, which is very common. And all this is about programming. So if you want to learn how to overcome your old programming, just get on my email system. Email me at info@jchristoff.com. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.